Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts.
Archlector George.
And Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
During the next few episodes, we'll be doing special episodes with guest spots, and for this episode, we'll be talking to a mod from the subreddit House of the Meme Maker, XLRIV. Yeah, okay.
48.
48.
Yes, him. And so, let's get started.
Please, XLRIV 48 is my father. Call me Slur.
Slur? All right, Slur.
Actually, that was my uncle. Just call me Trey.
Trey. Okay, Trey. Sounds good. So, first, as usual, we got to thank the audience for your support. Example, right here, we have Trey, right? His continued support. Gotta respect that. Appreciate that.
Listen to maybe 5 episodes. Yep. Continue.
I
You
love it.
cunt.
He's one of the more consistent ones. One of our
Yeah, man. Listen to all 5 of the 600 episodes.
Love it. And just we could remind you all to please follow us on our social medias and our YouTubes. Trey, are you a follower?
Man, I mean, of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
I think he's like me, Jeff. Social media is just a bit of a no-no.
Nah, it's all right. It's okay, I guess.
Yeah, Reddit is just about the only thing. What do y'all post on YouTube?
We haven't posted anything on YouTube in a minute, actually. So
Yeah, that was usually my domain, but I had some videos up, and
You should definitely watch Harrison's battle videos because they're really, really well done.
Yep.
What do you do? Dress up in armor and fight people, or is it?
Yeah.
No, that's my thing. That's my thing.
Jeff's the one that likes dressing up in costumes.
No,
Yeah.
I have posted a few videos of kind of like a documentary style, like like a Kings in General kind of thing, of like the War in the North.
Oh, sweet! That's awesome.
I just haven't been able to work on it in a little while because of my job is intense. So
He's gonna get back on the horse, though, right?
nay.
Yeah, you get up there and eat that horse.
break his heart like Giselle's heart got broken when Pharaoh just that poor horsey in before their head.
I feel like we're mixing metaphors a bit here, but
I have always wanted to try horse. Like, just
it's all right, it's a bit stringy.
Monsters.
really. I bet. Yeah, I've had.
Horses. Jeff loves horses. Hey, Jeff loves horses. Okay,
I've had kangaroo. I've had kangaroo jerky.
Interesting.
What does a kangaroo sound like?
Sound like?
Yeah, like I was gonna say moo, but I was like, that's not gonna work.
It sounds like "Mama gonna knock you out."
Yeah, kangaroos sound like, I better run away before this fucker kicks me and guts my fucking stomach out.
Yeah, it sounds like "G'day, mate. I'm here to g'day, big wheels. Hey there, legend. Good morning, sunshine."
Before we go off on a big tangent,
All right, hold on. Let me bring this. Yeah, Trey.
Yes.
How are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. How you got into the subreddit. Well, besides how you got into First Law series, obviously, and then how you got into the subreddit House of the Meme Maker. Why don't you walk us through that?
Well, I got into the First Law. Actually, it was I feel like it's a bit unconventional compared to people who read. And what it was is when I was a teenager in high school, like 9th grade, 10th grade, I was edgy as a dang D20. Lot of edge. And so I would just Google badass quotes like that in quotes. And a lot of Joe Abercrombie came up. And so I just started looking up Joe Abercrombie quotes, and I essentially pieced together my own idea of it over years, and until I started a job where audiobooks became a really good idea, like 5 years after I had that version of the First Law in my head. And then I just started listening to it, and I blasted through all the books in about a month, just listening to Stephen Pacey, and then started listening to him on repeat until I have essentially everything committed to memory.
Hey, that's fun fact. I actually have never read the books front to back myself. I've only listened to the audiobooks, except for The Great Change in Other Lives, because obviously they don't have an audiobook version of it. So
Yeah, I can't wait till Stephen Pacey puts his dulcet tones on that one. But yeah,
what was the quote that you ended up looking up? What was your favorite one?
A lot of them. Just about like the Logan's. I fought 10 campaigns or 3 campaigns, whatever, all that. Stabbed a woman, threw down a well. Of course, there's the one about Baez with the sword. It has a voice. My favorite one probably was from Best Served Cold from Sajam, where he said, "You were a hero round these parts. That's what they call you when you kill so many people. The word murderer falls short."
I do like that.
That one was probably the cool one. In fact, by doing it that way, I had a very different idea of who Logan was than he actually is, because I thought Logan Nine Fingers was more or less just, y'all have seen The Princess Bride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking it was the 6-fingered guy from that one, just with 2 less fingers on one hand. That's exactly who I thought it was. Just like that right there. And I couldn't have been more far off.
That's actually a really, really good metaphor. I really like that.
Yeah. It was just so clear in my head, and I couldn't have been more wrong.
Well, it's kind of like the way it's the way the books are written for him to be perceived, you know. So initially, at least.
Yeah, exactly. But as for how I got into the subreddit, I don't know when I started on Reddit, but when I did, I mostly just went around on flat Earth stuff and trolled around. I'm not kidding.
Are you?
If you check my, I'm not a flat earther. If you check my profile, you'll actually see that I am the moderator of a flat Earth subreddit. Those are the 2 places I'm mods on.
Oh well, you've got to find your entertainment somewhere.
Yeah, right. It's complicated. But after I got into the first law, I decided to look up the subreddit for it. And then eventually Will, Sir Spaceman, went on and made the meme subreddit. I jumped over there. I made some memes. Then I made more memes. Then I made even more memes. And the rest is history. Eventually...
you were saying earlier you've had over, was it 200 on the House of the America?
Somewhere between 200 and 300 posts.
Oh, so Will had no choice but to invite you to be a moderator then.
Exactly. A seat opened up on the closed council because one of the guys, Anglo Killer, that's who it was.
Lord Chancellor Fink died, you know.
Yeah, Lord Chancellor Fink died, and they had to have someone sit on the seat. And so Sir Spaceman and Bremer Gorst, they argued for days and nights. They had a whole ton of just ridiculous backstabbing things. Like 3 people got killed and fed to pigs. And eventually they settled on me as a compromise.
So you're the Giselle Dan Luthor?
Yeah, except Giselle Dan Luthor. Yeah, just slightly more competent, actually.
You'll be easy to control.
Oh no.
Little did they know.
Did they know.
Did you throw a cup at him one time?
A lot of times. In fact, my flair on there is the maddest bastard in the whole damn North. They essentially put Crummicky Fail on the closed council.
And very short that you are blessed of the moon.
Oh yes, beloved of the moon. That's the thing, my beauties. I'm beloved of the moon. You said it yourself, friend.
Matt, you do a better fucking South Country accent than I do. That's insane.
You're very good in the impression. He was just right before we started recording. He was doing all kinds of accents. We don't want to get too far down the rabbit trail, but they're pretty incredible.
If I just do funny things with my voice, we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
Right. George, can you tell us if Trey has one meme of the week at all?
He has.
Yeah,
He
he's
has?
had 2.
He's had 2. Okay.
I want to say 2, and they're quite early on.
Oh,
I
were
reckon, first 20, 30 episodes. Because, like you said, Trey, you've kind of toned it down with a little bit with the meme, and you're all memed out.
Yeah, I've tapered off a bit. I have been doing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the SCP Foundation, but I've been doing a lot of memes on that lately.
Is that the Communist Party?
You're not too far
The
off.
Southern Communist Party.
Thank you. That's what.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely familiar with SCP stuff. I think that's really interesting.
Well, of course you would be,
about
George.
that more. Of course. But yeah, I've
But,
just looked up on the website. By the way, visit the website, circleoftheworld.com. We've got a couple of yours here. We've got the old guy looking over his shoulder when he's with his girlfriend at somebody he shouldn't be, and it's Glockter, Salt, and the Truth.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. I think we had a good old laugh about that like a year and a half ago.
I think my most upvoted meme in the House of the Meme Maker is the one where it's Obama putting a medal on. No, a different one actually. It's Obama putting a medal onto a second Obama, and it was Brother Longfoot and his many remarkable talents as the medal.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was my magnum opus, is what that was.
Was it now? Okay.
Every other post I've had that has outpaced it has been pictures of bugs I've posted onto bug subreddits.
Well, we all have our hobbies.
Yeah,
well,
man.
You also as we like to have on our guest spots, we like to have a topic of the guest that they choose. Most of the time, we try to at least. What topic did you choose, Trey?
Well, there are 2 topics I'd like to touch on. The first one is how Baez is, always has been, and always will be right.
Ooh,
and the second one is my theory on where the Bloody Nine comes from a medical perspective.
From a medical perspective. I hope you have a medical background.
No,
it's all blind speculation. It's fine.
You said
This podcast is all about blind speculation, right?
My mom is a nurse. Does that count?
Oh my god, those sound effects fucking kill me. Nobody can hear those.
Yeah, no one can hear those.
I can hear them, and that's all that matters. Do you not record those sound effects?
No, they don't. They don't save. Actually, that's what's so funny about them. I always like doing them, and they always get mad at me. That's why if you ever hear the newest episodes and they just start randomly cracking up laughing, it's because I'm playing a sound effect.
This is ridiculous. This is a stupid show. It's a bad show. I love it.
So before we get onto the topics, I'm curious. Out of the 3, quote unquote trilogies of the First Law, what's your favorite? And what's your favorite book overall from the entire series?
Definitely the standalones and Red Country. That's my favorite.
Ooh, really? my man.
Red Country, man.
Man after my own heart. Okay, I respect that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Nice. My favorite part about it was the fellowship. I love the idea of mobile caravans. They pick up people, they lose people, they go on. They're just self-sufficient, moving from one spot to another through dangerous country. I've played multiple games like this. The Banner Saga, Prophet of Nowhere, and those are some of my favorite games, even though I can't play Prophet of Nowhere because they removed it from Game Pass, which I'm still salty about. But that concept has just really stuck with me. And, of course, there's all the conflict that really gets nitty-gritty in Red Country.
Oh,
And
does it ever?
oh, absolutely. Plus,
I
I
actually have to
mean,
agree with you. I love the Fellowship kind
yeah.
of arc. That whole bit from
Oh,
when they they meet up with Sweet and Cry and Rock, and they just kind of go on this adventure. I really, really do enjoy the way that Joe writes that because it's so personal. You'd expect it to be this whole, kind of heroic journey, and they go across the plains and defeat Sanjeev and all that, but you actually see like the nitty gritty and all the little details of it, and
oh
it's
yeah.
just it's wonderful, isn't it? And I
And
love
that's
the fact that
part.
he intentionally called it a fellowship. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
A lot of people have issues with all the what you call it, little people chapters, and I like it. I really do because it shows you how all these people think about each other. It gets you more in depth and understanding about the general tone of the characters instead of just the 3 POV characters that are in the book.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very narrow POV in that book. You've only got, because in just about everything else, you're going from location to location following the different POVs, like Pharaoh in the south, Giselle in the Union, Logan in the north, then Dogman in the north, and until they all converge and move on and split up, do their all different things. Whereas in Red Country, you have Shy
Mm-hmm.
and Temple going in the same direction and occasionally Row.
Mhm.
And then you have interspersed with all the little people chapters. And of course, I love all of those, especially the one where Joubert gets his head cut off and everyone gets their heads thrown out. It's honestly, yeah, it's a great book. I love it. I love the Western vibe from
Oh yeah.
everything there.
Oh yeah.
And like I never realized how much I wanted a cowboy story with swords instead of guns.
Well, you got it.
I got it.
It was a great one too. It's one of my favorite
Uh,
books.
I think my
Right,
favorite little moment from that was when Glama Golden got half his mustache ripped out.
That is such a good fight. I do love the little bare knuckle boxing fight though,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
because
Just
it's sort
two
of like a
greased up
modern,
men.
a more modern understanding of the whole kind of fight in the circle thing.
Exactly. Just two greased up men punching each other till one doesn't get up.
Yeah, we all love it. We all love to see it. So, tell us about how Baez is right. Just outline your kind of manifesto here.
Yeah. Go
All
ahead.
right. Let me just open my Google Doc. I've got about 17 pages to go through here.
All right.
Okay. So, everything Baez does, he did for the right reasons. Like, remember when that shitbag Leo just ruined everything?
Oh, we're going straight to Age of Madness. Okay.
You go
Yeah.
straight to the
Oh,
end,
yeah.
all right?
Yeah, we are jumping around because I don't have a plan and I'm just saying things. So everything Leo did was essentially part of Baez's plan, even if he didn't know it.
All
Oh
right.
I mean,
shit.
the whole rebellion thing to
Yeah.
kind of solidify his power. He's done that before, with the Tanner.
Oh yeah, with the Tanner and everything. He had his shape-shifting bodyguard play every single role. I
Yeah.
mean,
And
yeah.
I mean, you can
Let me
see
ask
that
you-
in. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, let me ask you this. What would Brock have done if he ended up getting the crown? I'm talking about the original Lord Brock now. What would he have done if he was voted to the crown, which is what would have happened if Baez didn't heroically intervene and put the son of a whore onto the underneath the crown? Huh? What would have happened?
I know
I'll
you're
tell you what would have
implying.
happened.
You're implying that he'd fall to the Gurkish, but I don't think he would.
No.
Well,
No.
he
No.
would have surrendered to the Gurkish when he got that
Nah.
offer.
Nah,
Right.
He
nah,
literally did. He literally did, like, kind
Yeah.
of do that.
That's
Right.
Well,
what
hey,
he did
that's
when
what-
he was denied his rightful quote unquote place in the crown.
Yeah, but think about this though. Giselle almost wished that he would have, and then they wouldn't have been under the thumb of Baez, What is
Oh
that?
yeah,
Maybe it was better.
But also,
Giselle utterly
is a
rejects that offer because he got angry about it.
And then he told General Malzagert and Mamoon to fuck each other and invite the Prophet to fuck with them too. And I don't think Brock would have had the spine for it.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't know. He did say, "This is a sham, an outrage." I mean,
exactly.
But at the same time, I think you're right, because I think Baez is a huge influence there, right? Because Giselle has Baez there looking over his shoulder the whole time. So maybe if that situation was the exact same and it was just Brock, I can imagine that going that way. I could see that.
Because they were very, very reasonable demands. Everyone would have been allowed to live under their own rules. They would have been able to not worship God. They would just have to pay taxes to the empire. It was very reasonable.
Yeah.
And I don't think Brock would have been able to, because if Baez wasn't on the Union's direct side for that war, they wouldn't have had that tornado that killed 100 words.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
And then and they would have just straight up won. And if Baez didn't lock Ptolemy in the House of the Maker with Yolway, then what do you think would have happened? She would have just made a right mess.
A proper mess.
Just a proper mess.
When you think about Baez's actual intentions, so his whole reason for starting the Union is to kind of have a weapon against Kal-El, who already had his sort of own followers. So doesn't the fact that he's doing it for selfish reasons sort of colour his intentions that way?
Well, selfish reasons are... Nobody does anything for altruism. Selfish reasons are the only ones that I trust, because
Mother Teresa disapproves.
Mother Teresa, Calcutta, more like Calcutta, check.
Let's not deviate. Let's just go ahead, continue.
Anyway, he was for selfish reasons, but you know what he did? He started civilization he turned these cave dwellers into the greatest country in the world. I mean, these people used to paint themselves with mud, and now they paint themselves with makeup and wear fancy hats, and a lot of people die in the workplace, and all the children working in the machines. I mean, come on, it's progress.
What an upgrade.
The American dream.
Well,
as an American, I think I can wholeheartedly agree that full industrialization and absolute capitalist policies is the way forward.
The world is built on genocide and blood and exploitation. That's the way it's always been.
I will say, I think the parallel here is actually the British Industrial Revolution, because the British people had, the kid chimney sweeps and all that stuff. I'm just saying, we didn't have chimney sweeps in our neck of the woods here, not in America.
You're right. We merely have shitty
chimneys.
Yeah, we didn't have chimneys.
Yeah, we didn't have chimneys. We were too busy conquering, things. But listen,
we just had paper mills for our children to be ground up in.
Chimney sweep was not a bad job. That was like middle. That was like average.
So we know that George is pro child labor. All right, cool. Sounds good.
Well, obviously it's like any other.
80% of them are going to be turn out to be idiots anyway. So
Yeah, they're British. Can you blame them? But it's like countries with forced conscription for the military. You have to spend at least 2 years as a chimney swift to be a legal British citizen.
That is true. That is true. I was only 8 years old when that happened to me, and I never looked back. And
not chimney swift. That's a bird. Chimney sweep. Although George is a bit of a bird.
Well, not to get too dark here, but that's one thing I like about the Age of Madness stuff is whenever they talk about how like the kids get stuck inside these chimneys and get fucking burned alive.
Yeah, that kid who got melted in the chimney. Oh man, that was so great.
Oh, when that kid gets cooked alive in the chimney, because
and the drunk guy's like, "I thought you said the West chimney." Hey,
That's-
stick drunk fuck.
So none of this is supporting your Baez is right. Right.
Oh
Surely.
yeah, but it's that or nothing. Would it be better if they were all just, if they were just primitive nothings who got conquered by the old
would it
empire,
be?
Styria,
Yeah.
the North, once they got their shit together, the Gurkish, just over and over, the land trading hands and
let's
having
think about this
no
for a second.
culture.
Trey, let's think about this for a second. What does civilization bring?
Bullshit. Terrible things.
What? Well, you just answered your own question there, sir. You just disproved your own theory.
Hey, just
You said
because I
Baez
don't
brought
believe it doesn't mean he's not right.
Civilization.
Yeah, I think the North would have been a lot better if they didn't pave the roads and all that. But that's because I like the story of all the clans. You know what most disappointed me about the North? It's that Bethod had already conquered all of his enemies, and now he was the only enemy, and we didn't get to see all the squabbling. I want a full North adventure, but that's neither here nor there. I just want to see Logan in his prime, but
I think
more
we
of
did.
Logan in his prime.
Oh, more. Okay.
Yeah. But back to why Baez is right. Would anything good have come if Logan didn't follow Baez? What would he have done if he just decided to go straight back to the North, kill Bethod, kill everyone else, and
Probably would have got
then
murdered.
yeah, I probably would have gotten murdered, and it would have been a boring story.
I mean, there is an interesting argument here because, sure, Gurkle is awful, and they have slavery, and people just randomly get selected to go and get eaten. Stuff like all that
And
awful
forced to
shit.
eat other people.
But would Khalul have stooped to that if Baez hadn't have been his adversary?
Huh.
So you could argue that the conflict itself is the reason why everything is so bad.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but they're both responsible for their own choices. Like
I'm just
Khalil.
thinking about what
absolutely.
point.
But if you think about it in a sort of like a survival sort of way, where they're both sort of at odds with each other, and this is the only way that they could do it because they've been alive so long and they have so much power that fighting this way is just sort of like a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
They're both locked into this struggle.
They're both more or less so old. It really, their feud stopped mattering a long while ago to everyone but them.
Right.
I will say
I'm-
though, I have a different perspective here. Of one thing that has not been accounted for, and it is in your favor, Trey, despite my prodding at your, Baez is right. It is the fact that Baez wants to make, yes, it's for Khalul and all that, right? It's XYZ, but Baez is very well read, and he's fully aware of things out there. He does have fears, he does have anxieties, and he is like, oh, I don't like certain things. Certain things are bad. Like, Glustrad stuff, like, he said, oh yeah, well, Glustrad was wrong because he couldn't do it right. But he is also aware of things going on. And with the ending of the Age of Madness, there is an argument to be made that Baez, by creating the Union and making it the, for lack of a better term, most successful country on the planet at that point, has prepared the world for the eventual absolute chaos that is to come. And that he did so on purpose in the hopes that just in case, he didn't just build the Union to go against Khalul, he built it for security. So maybe there's an argument to be made there for whatever is coming back.
But Harrison, what are you saying? Are you saying that the Age of Madness was what Baez planned all along?
No.
Well,
I'm saying that he made the Union for security, and if something is returning, like some kind of darker power, then he is arguably going to be the one to save the world, if not directly, then by Union.
Using the Union, right? Okay.
There is something I'd like to, since Jeffrey just said that part about Baez being part of the Great Change, there is something very specific that more or less implies that. In Rika's final vision, Baez was there, described as a bald weaver with his loom.
I really think that is more of a premonition.
Yeah.
So like that, after the Age of Madness, all of those events are settled. That Baez starts working like that, and that's what makes him that. Like I always see that as like what's to come rather than what has been.
Right. I
But-
took that. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Trey. I'm sorry.
But here's my thought about that. They're worried about the Weaver, and there are 3 different layers of people with the name the Weaver. First, there's Rizanal, then there's Pike, then there's Glocta, and that's maybe the final reveal. But in the same time, the Great Change didn't build anything. Not really. They tore everything down. And the Bald Weaver in Rika's vision was shown with their loom just torn all to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And this is after Khalul has been defeated by Pharaoh, presumably. We don't get that confirmed at all. I'm sure he's dead. Otherwise, why would the Eaters be scattered? Ishri, all them.
Hang on. I have I think that I'm not convinced Kalu was 100% dead because
Yeah, that's fair. No.
if he is not dead though, I have a feeling like Baez, he's kind of like done with the bullshit. Kalul is an eater. Kalul is an eater and has high art. Didn't age. He's probably in better shape than Baez, but also not as good in like sorcery. Obviously, otherwise he would have fought Baez previously. So I wonder if she injured him to the point. Maybe she did kill him, but she injured him to the point where he's just kind of like done with it. He's just gonna go live and he's not gonna play the game anymore. I would love to see a Kalul come in as kind of a Deus Ex Machina, but like he's like Yulway now. He's like, nah, man, I'm cool.
He just owns a pawn shop.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's super cool. Like he's like not a problem. Like because he's realized what a waste.
I used to eat people and force others to eat people too.
Yeah, but that's exactly the kind of sad backstory that Joe would introduce and make us feel bad for him.
Yeah, but I don't. I think the way Joe has written the both of them, Khalul and Baez, is like what you said earlier. Is that this feud matters to nobody else but them? This is all that they live for at this point.
Exactly.
They're pretty much the only people alive that still remember it.
That's what I mean. They both checked out now.
Right.
Though. They both don't care.
Right. So I'm saying Khalul is not dead. Right. If he's not dead, if he's severely injured, I think he's just trying to bide his time and heal and to return. I don't think he's gonna do the whole, drifter through a different town. I mean, first of all, the guy's an eater now, so he's kind of got to still eat. I think people in a small town will kind of notice if like the population started shrinking, as soon as like Khalul walks into town. Another thing is, okay, so I want to go back to what you were talking about with Baez being, he is the Bald Weaver in Rika's vision, yes, but
obviously, yeah.
But
whether or not he's the Weaver.
No, I don't think he would be, because I mean, why else would you when it was revealed it was Glocta, all this jazz, and then Yoru comes in to take care of business, and then he got got. Baez wouldn't have sent him, his most loyal assistant, whatever, to get killed or even risk getting killed if this was his plan all along. I don't see that. But I do.
So what you're saying, Jeff, is that this entire thing has been Baez's plan to get rid of Yoru.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
he's saying he doesn't.
If I was Baez, I would as well. Like, you send him into all these situations, and he just comes back again. Like, oh, never any peace. Eh? Fuck me. Why won't this guy die?
I am just saying that Baez was not part of the Great Change, and that because Baez was it was talked about briefly. It wasn't really expounded upon, right? Why he wasn't around. He was very distracted. He was off in the old empire or something.
Yeah, something going on with Cornel and Zacharias in the, in the West.
They were off doing something.
Right. Okay.
But I think that there's several passages, especially from Rekka's point of view, when she sees Baez in A Little Hatred, I think it is, when she first gets to Adjura and she's at the parties, that Baez is just completely fucking oblivious to all of this. Like, he's got his nice new suit and his nice little, he's just like, living the high life pretty much in Adjura, and he has no idea what's coming.
I did have a pretty good metaphor. I thought about that. Think of assuming, under the assumption that Khalul is dead and isn't coming back. And Baez is bored out of his mind because he no longer has his nemesis. Think of, he had built this entire city, built it all, and doesn't have a reason for it anymore. And think of it like a farm or a field of crops, all that. If you grow too many, you suck out all the nutrients from it. And sometimes you have to burn the field to reoxygenate it all. You have to tear it all down so it can grow better.
And that was Glaucus' reasoning. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you have to, in order to change the world, we have to burn it all down.
I actually think that's really interesting, and I would love it if Joe came out and was kind of like that Baez was just pretending that he wasn't in distress about the fact that his entire,
Honestly, I think he cares more about what
what
goes on in the North than he cares about the Union.
Well,
I actually have an interesting theory about how Baez has been trying to build something like the Union in the North for a long time. I think Scarling Hoodless was possibly one of his peons.
Oh, no doubt he was. I mean, he knew Scarling Hoodless, and Scarling Hoodless built Carleon, and yeah, there's no doubt in my mind.
I mean, these are all really interesting theories, aren't they, guys?
Yeah. Okay. So I am on the Baez being a part of the Great Change. I'm not sold on it, but I want to ask directly, Trey. So you think your whole thing is Baez was right. So when you say Baez was right, you say not only he was up. Okay, so he started the Union. That's fine, right? That's great. It's obviously the events that we've seen, in the original trilogy, the standalones, and then obviously the Age of Madness is when shit gets crazy. But his actions in terms of his treatment of Giselle, the murder of Morovia, if that was ordered by Baez, the murder of Reynald, and then therefore the emissary from Gurkel, all this stuff.
I would like to mention, just on those, the murder of what was the first one? Morovia.
Morovia was done by Salt.
Yeah, that was done by Salt and his cheap magic. The murder of the emissary was also done by Salt. Rogant was absolutely no doubt in my mind that was Yoru. That was on Baez.
You think that who? Salt killed?
You mean Reynald?
Reynald, you mean?
No. Reynald, the crown prince. That was Baez. That was Baez commanding Yoru to go eat.
Right. But when I say the emissary, I just meant by butterfly effect, because Reynald died, therefore someone had to be the suspect for his death, therefore the emissary from Gurkel. That's what I mean.
And that makes sense, because Baez started the Inquisition in the way that we know it now, so he knows the way that it works, and therefore he knows that if this happens, then X would happen.
I feel like that's a pretty, even still, I feel like it's a pretty broad way. Yeah, he framed the emissary.
Yeah, he framed it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I just remembered that bloodstained shirt. Okay, I'll give you that one.
That Yoru left behind. And then obviously the fantasy version of a nuclear warhead going off. The financial burden, I guess you could say, that because for him to accrue that much wealth, how he does it, I'm not saying it's the only way you do it, that you can only accrue wealth this way, but how he does it, it obviously looks like a financial strain on the Union citizens and everything. So you think he was right to do so because the ends justify the means? Yeah or no?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, there is a certain amount. There is a certain amount of credibility to lend to the ends justify the means in certain contexts, but
in certain ways, sometimes you just need a dictator. Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it was
one of those old philosophy things, eh?
It was everything you just mentioned, or nothing at all. That's the way I see it.
Right. Okay. So because here's where I kind of see. Here's where I see, credence to your thought process, Trey, is that I have full belief that at the end of Age of Madness, after this whole shit where now Baez has to kind of like start plotting again, and it's Leo, Dan Koch, and Savine, and
You're
two
kind of
kids,
on his side now, aren't you?
huh?
You're
I'm
kind
just
of on his
saying.
side.
I'm just
At that
saying, like
point, at
they're
that
gonna
point.
be, yeah. At that point, they're running around with chickens, with their heads cut off. Like it's gonna get even worse. Like I have full belief in that. I have full
I mean,
belief.
you could already see that at the end of Age of Madness. Like it
Yeah.
just definitely is going to get worse before it gets better. But that's the same with any revolution, though.
Oh
And
yeah,
a lot of
I
those
mean,
do work out for the better, right, guys?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, the American experiment.
Hey, this is America country right here, baby. All right.
Whatever, you fucking Yankee.
Are you a Yankee? Trey, where are you from?
North Carolina.
Oh shit, you're from the South.
You fucking goddamn New Englander piece of garbage. Go eat your deep dish pizza in Boston, you traitor.
I'm in Jersey.
I thought deep dish pizzas.
That's even worse.
Yeah, deep dish is Chicago.
I'm bad at geography.
Yeah, we could tell.
Man, I can't believe I knew that and you didn't.
Man, what's the Boston pizza?
There is no Boston pizza. It's French toast with ketchup.
Really? Well, dude, if it makes you feel any better, I was born in Pennsylvania.
Oh shit, what part?
Du Bois.
Du Bois. Oh, I actually think I know that place, or at least I know where it's at. Oh,
It's if you live in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, I forget which one it's outside of. You'll hear a lot of news about Du Bois,
really?
and it will make you not want to visit Du Bois.
So it's the Florida area of PA, is what you're saying?
They are Du Bois is home to the northernmost hillbillies in the United States.
Love that. Love that. That I think it's outside of Pittsburgh, then Appalachia.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like the original like moonshiners.
Oh yeah.
Descendants of the moonshiners.
They're the ones the Amish kicked out.
So, just to wrap that last segment up, then, what do you guys, Harrison, Jeff? Would you agree with Trey's assessment here that Baez is morally correct in his actions?
Okay. Before I give my 2 cents on this, I just want to ask Trey: do you have anything else that you want to speak? To talk about that will lend evidence to your theory or your thought process.
Yeah, I do have one more important point.
What's up?
Fuck Leo.
Oh,
that's
full
fair
stop.
Enough, yeah.
Full stop. Fuck Leo. Okay. Well, that can be endorsed on the Circle of the World podcast for sure.
Yeah.
I actually love Leo, but
I love him as a character.
Yeah,
my favorite part about him is
fantastic.
My favorite part about him is the roughly 30% of his body mass that he lost.
Well, how's the leg?
How's your leg?
Oh, my prince.
All right, so
I like
Jeffrey,
it.
what do you think about that?
I like it. I like it. Baez being right all along. Yeah, why not? Go for it.
Yeah,
I'm with
he's
it.
right
I'm
every
with it.
single time. Every time.
He's been around for so long. He's seen like how things probably repeat themselves, right? Historical events. He probably figure it out, and obviously he is turning it towards the direction that he prefers. If that benefits him. But yeah, I think all right. I'm pro Trey right here.
Yeah.
Harrison?
I'm kind of a contrarian sometimes, but I love Baez. I think he's one of the most complex, interesting, grounded, but still kind of a bad guy kind of character.
Real down to earth character.
Yeah, fiction in fiction. He's a fantastic character.
Yeah, loves
that
his team.
being said, though, you have to understand that it's easy, just like we do in real life with our own politics. It's easy to be like, that guy was the problem. The problem wasn't directly Baez. Not really. The problem was the fucking banks, just as it is right now in real life. So
Yeah,
it's the
those
people,
bastards balance and balls.
it's the institutions that are actually in charge. Yes, bias put those in place. Yes, bias is the cause. But what
yes,
actually
he is
runs the
Valent and
system?
Bulk. Yes.
Yeah, he's stepped back. Like he didn't. The reason the biggest weakness of an old person is losing touch. And Baez, who is normally not weak to that, fell weak to that. That's why he quote unquote lost at the age of madness, is because he lost touch. He stopped caring as much. So he lost his position. He lost his direct power. And I would say, just like in real life, that it's better to restart with even if the chances of things working out perfectly are low, that better to have that hope than the same bullshit that we've been dealing with for thousands of years, intervening and still doing the same stuff. Because why not? Because they're right. They've been right for thousands of years. It's an appeal to traditionalism. It's an appeal that does not mean that he's right. So I wholeheartedly disagree, and I think that the union should be given a chance to give its own direction, at least for now.
Yeah, fair enough.
I absolutely have to agree with Harrison there.
Yeah.
I think that death under freedom is better than life under a tyrant. In any situation. So I think Baez, despite the fact that his actual intentions are reasonably selfish, and how he feels so proprietary, or in a proprietor's kind of way, about the union, like he believes that every single person in it is kind of his. And I think that alone is enough to justify not agreeing with him, because he doesn't really want what's best for anybody. He just wants what's best for him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no doubt.
And that's why Joe is so good, because he writes this human nature stuff. Because when you get into power and you've kind of struggled in your life, you want to make sure that you never struggle again. And that is a very, very human thing to do. And for Baez to build this whole kind of network around it, and just for his own benefit, is, that's exactly what anybody would do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't mean I have to be on his side, though.
There is something I'd like to mention about Baez. I am a cynical person, and I do not trust altruism in the slightest. That's part of why I like Baez.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really disguise it. He's a selfish bastard, and if you say anything about it, he'll explode you with his mind.
Well, oh my God! I just realized that George, we've actually learned something from this conversation. We've learned, why does Yoru Sulfur follow Baez? Why is he such a why is he the way he is? Because you hate Yoru. He's basically Trey. Trey's mindset is why Sulfur follows Baez. He's like, at least he's honest.
Yeah, he goes by it honestly.
He may be a cunt, but man, he's gonna win, and I want to be on the winning side. And he gives me shit, and he is wise, he is smart. I'll just focus on the positive.
Hey man, stand with the winners, right?
Yeah. And plus, Yoru's always gonna be full. Nom 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 nom.
Until he's filling others up. That sounded wrong.
I don't like the way you said that.
Jeff, cut that out.
Anyways, I think that covers the bias topic pretty well.
Yeah, like that. That was
Great.
good. That was a good conversation. Let's move on to our best meme of the week. George, that's you. Take it away, buddy boy.
Well, we have our not a time of recording, but tomorrow in real time. Our guest tomorrow is the winner of Meme of the Week this week. So that's Joshua Foster _author on Meme House of the Meme Maker.
Wait,
and
that's confusing. Who he won, or he's on tomorrow? He's on tomorrow.
Yeah, he's on tomorrow, and he won. He won the Meme of the Week this week, and we're recording him tomorrow, which may be 2 weeks after the episode came out in real time. So, listeners, just disregard everything we just said.
Dang, dude's winning the dang triple crown, ain't he?
Yeah, he's replaced you and Tamil Bor in turn.
Oh shit!
No offense, Ty, we love you. But the meme is this fucking. I love this. It's just like an anatomy of having an earache, and there's an organ in the ear that looks like a snail,
That is the copia.
me listening to the exactly me listening to the snail in my ear telling me to reread the blade itself.
Someone commented on that because I did see that as it came up. Someone commented about Junji Ito's Uzumaki, because that was a scene in that where
Yes.
a woman. It's all about spirals, and a woman got crazy about spirals, and she realized there was a spiral in her ear and deafened herself. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, Junjo Ito is a nightmare of a read. Like,
Oh man, I love him.
if anybody's into creepy shit, Junjo Ito, and look up any of his comics, it's fucking weird shit, man.
Oh yeah, there's a fungus girl in Tomie.
Yeah, the one with the hole. This hole is made for me. Oh no, that's just so fucking freaky, man.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Love that.
anyway, thank you, Joshua Foster Author, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. We shall see you
Yep.
in real time tomorrow.
I
Real
won't be
quick.
there.
No.
No. So we'll move on to our next topic. Trey, we believe that you have some apologies to make on Logan Nine Fingers' behalf. Is this correct?
No. I will not apologize for Logan's behavior.
Okay, good. So let's
Uh,
start. You want to talk about how Logan is suffering, well, his behavior from a medical perspective, correct?
Yeah.
Without medical background, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a medical professional, but I am a professional Googler. So there's that.
Yeah, he is a white man, of course.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm a mid-20s white guy. I know everything. Thank you very much.
Of course. Yes. Of course.
Yeah, but anyway, something that I've noticed every time before Logan goes Bloody Nine,
Mhm.
he gets some sort of head trauma. Like the first time, before he fought all the practicals and before he got fought down to his knees, he cracked his head on one of the timbers in the construction for the seating, for the game. The
Mhm.
sword game, he called it.
The circle, the contest.
The circle, yeah, that's the one. And then later on that, he busted open. Yeah, you're right, the contest. Then he basically busted his head open, smashing open the stone shitter's head. Just bop, 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 9 times. It really, really hurts your head. Then the second time we see the Bloody Nine, when he goes to fight the Shanka, when he fell down in that pit with Pharaoh, it was very clear that there was blood trickling from his scalp, and he was very, very injured in the head region. And then he just really shifted right into it. It was different from the other times because he really just hates the Shanka.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he goes Bloody Nine in the high places in whatever that fort was called, great fort, just really easily defendable. But he got knocked down to the ground. Yeah, it was. I mean, shoot, how else can 300 guys take on thousands of troops? But anyway, he got knocked to the ground, trampled, kicked, and was very clearly concussed in that right before he stabbed Tull in his big fat neck. And it was that at that point that happened. And then when he fought the Feared, he got smacked by the fucking Feared.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be the worst one.
Mm-hmm.
What about in Red Country?
Well, yeah, hold on. He's not done yet. There's another time he almost turns Bloody Nine in Last Argument of Kings.
Oh, yeah.
That is right. He was really messed up on that. If I'm not mistaken, he was... I forget the exact lead up on that. I never paid much attention to it.
That was the explosion from the nuclear warhead, and they all...
That's right. Yeah, it went off. But I couldn't remember if that's what stopped him from going full out or if it's what set him off.
I think it's what stopped him. Yeah,
it's what stopped him.
Yeah,
there was
that's
another
right.
thing.
Yeah, it knocked him away.
It definitely sounds like he got smacked in the head in that fight.
He definitely.
I'm sure he did.
He
definitely got smacked over the head there.
Yeah. And then just one more to bring it back to before they're hanged. In the Scars chapter, where they're all sitting around talking about their wounds, Logan did mention that he got his head split open when someone dropped a rock on his head. Now, all of this comes together to say that Logan's head is not really all there. And in real life, there have been so many examples where people have lost chunks of their brain matter or gotten repeatedly knocked over the head, constant head trauma, and gone on to do really bad things, have very distinct mood swings. Like,
CTE.
yeah, that's right, CTE. And there was this one guy who was a wrestler who, I forget his name, but it was a very famous case.
Oh, I
And
know.
he ended up, he killed his wife and children.
Chris Benoit.
Chris Benoit. Yeah, I really should have known that because of the thing you put up your ass. But it's something. It's like a distinct sex toy. It might be.
What?
I don't want. Jeff, cut that out.
I might have to leave that in. What is that?
Are you talking about anal beads here?
I need to know.
Benoit balls? Is that a thing?
Oh my God, Harrison! Don't get any ideas.
I have no idea how we got onto this.
It's too late. I'm doing it now.
It was the word. Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can think of a supporting example for this as well. You know, Phineas Gage.
Oh, the name sounds familiar.
He was working on a construction site on a railroad back in the 1800s, and
Was
he looked
he the
down.
one? Okay, yeah.
So they were taking a hole, put gunpowder in it, and then you basically blow a hole in it, and you put the railroad spike in beforehand so that it kind of like sits in there. And he looked down the hole because it wasn't going off, and then it went off, and the railroad spike went clean through his brain.
Clean through
his brain. Took out, they reckon, about 25 to 30% of his brain matter, and he got up
survived.
20 minutes later. And then for the rest of his life, he was just an absolute prick.
Yep, just completely crazy. Just chunk of his brain was gone, and he turned into an alcoholic. He had mood swings like crazy, real angry guy. And clearly you saw the salmonella video. And remember that bit where he lives when he worked in a museum and he was his own exhibit where he held the spike that went through his head and said, "This was inside me." But there was another example, the same way. It was a more modern construction worker. I think it was around the late 90s. And he got an auger bit jammed right through his head, and they just kind of unscrewed it out of his head. And he went through essentially the same thing. He survived, was ruined with medical bills, and became a shitty person.
I mean, you can make an argument that the medical bills alone are enough to make you a shitty person, but
that's fair. He
but
wasn't
again with extreme behavior as well. But things like brain tumors, strokes, aneurysms, like latent aneurysms, and things like that are enough to very, very dramatically alter your behavior.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and let's let Trey continue. So you were going on to Red Country, right?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah.
Okay.
I will be now. Yes.
Yes.
The thing about Red Country is Lamb Logan doesn't really take many hits. I think at that point, he really just embraces it. Like there's really no doubt about it. He goes right into it. He goes with that directive. Because I can't think of a single example where he really takes any hits. I really can't think of any, except for when he was all scabbed up and ruined when he came back on a horse before he almost fought Shivers.
Well, you kind of agree with that, don't you, George? Your theory has always been that he is full on Bloody Nine the whole time during Red Country, right?
I absolutely believe that. I actually think he just take a hit to the head when he jumped out the window in Carleon. And it was just like that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, that was a big one.
And at a certain point, like, you know, the Bloody Nine, when being brought into the real world, I mean, Logan does things in Red Country that we wouldn't expect of regular Logan anyway. Like, he always keeps his head down. He doesn't challenge anybody. He's just trying to kind of avoid it because he's now accepted that that's what he is.
Yeah. And, well, a lot of, you know what? I just thought of one. He got punched really hard by Glamour Golden. Really,
That's
really
true.
hard. And then his head, like, slumped back and he drooled a bit, like he was knocked out standing on his feet. And then it went immediately bloody 9. There's an example.
And I would agree with that one too. Like, he doesn't in that specific instance, unlike the other times in Red Country, except for one other time in Red Country, it's mostly in control. As much as he likes to pretend he's not, he's almost in control. But with Glamour Golden, he fucking just starts killing everybody at that point. He's killing everyone.
Everyone. I mean, he was so dang cool and in a cold way when he pinned those 3 shits to the bar. Well, pinned one of them, cut up the other one, and then almost hung the third.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was a one-man army the entire time.
And do you know what? That's actually really, really fucking reserved of Logan or the Bloody 9 to do that.
Right?
But to actually be calm all the way up until the point you're going to do the violence and then actually being able to back down from it. I know it's Shy that interrupts him, and he does tell her, don't get in my way again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he held back and didn't kill her when she got in his way. That's something we don't see from the Bloody 9 ever. And that might be because he didn't get knocked on the noggin.
That is a good point.
Remember when everyone had to hold Logan back when he was about to kill Werdener and Rowe?
Yeah.
And Fred, what was his name?
Savian?
Savian, yeah. He held back one arm. Dab Sweet was holding onto a leg and just like flopping around. And Friendly was just like holding on to him and looked like he was mildly straining himself. It's like, this
Which
guy,
is a lot for Friendly.
a lot. He never shows anything. The fact that he showed anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Grimm saying anything.
It's like Grimm turning around and going, "Oh my god, what is that?"
It's like Grimm talking. It's like Grimm doing a dissertation on bells. But go ahead.
Yeah. It's like Grimm saying,
Mm-hmm.
just really impactful. But yeah. So, I to conclude,
any more evidence that you've got there?
No, that about covers it. Yeah. Logan is severely headly traumatized, and his brain doesn't work right, so he's a very grouchy boy.
Interesting. Now, if you're done giving your key points of evidence, I know we're probably ready to like talk about what you just said. Are you, Trey?
Oh yeah. I'm nodding, but you can't see that.
Of course, we need to we need to enable video podcast eventually. But anyway, okay, I can see it, right? And I know it's been bandied about. Well, it's actually been bandied about that he had a personality disorder, right?
Oh yeah.
The head trauma thing. I want to say you're the first one that's talked about it. Maybe somebody else I've read somewhere in Reddit far, far away. I don't know.
I have mentioned it on Reddit several times.
So you probably have read it. Oh, so probably you then. It's a possibility. All right, I can see it. It does track in a way. Like if I was going along your line of thinking, how I would go about to explain Red Country would be that the older you get, the less,
like mental deterioration.
The more mental deterioration, the more your inhibitions take control. So I can kind of see that, but I will say, I feel like the reason that Joe never really gave us a reason as to why the Bloody 9 is the Bloody 9 is that he gives he doesn't want to chalk it down to like supernatural origins or mental health origins or even physical origins. It's just like up to us. But if we can look at it, like, okay, made the monster, right? You read Sharp Ends?
Oh, of course.
That is the point where, besides Red Country, you could say that the Bloody Nine and Logan were one. Where the Bloody Nine was at his most bloodlust not to sound Pornhubby, but like that.
Bloodlustiness. I like it.
Yeah. But Logan is there to actually have a conversation and not immediately stab anybody that comes within the vicinity, as when Bethod did. When he comes in, he's like, "Hey man, where's Rattleneck's son? Oh, he's all over the place. What the fuck, bro?" And Logan is actually having a conversation while still, decorating the interior of the room there with Rattleneck's son's body parts.
Can I just
whistling
interject a little bit there, Jeff?
Yeah, please.
I actually find it quite interesting that so would that be after the Siege of Carleon?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it would be, wouldn't it?
Because that was
shortly.
That was
shortly
in
after
Carleon.
Logan has.
But yeah.
So it'd be just after the head injury that.
Yeah, but you
Trey
have
is
to remember.
talking about
You have to remember what Trey said about when he talked about before they're hanged. In the Scars chapter, first instance was way before Carleon. He was 14, killed his best friend. When he was 17, stabbed his father. Couldn't remember it. Same kind of like thing about what we saw, in the books, and from his perspective.
I will argue the devil's advocate that we don't know that he wasn't hit on the head for those two occasions.
I do believe it's possible that he was knocked on the head for the friend one. I can't see it being possible for the dad one.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
was he
his dad's back around?
Yeah. Okay, so he's having dinner with his pops. He's like, "Hey, did you grab some water from the well?" "No." "Oh, here," and just cracks a pot over his head. And then that's probably why
you never know. The North is a fucking violent place.
You're killing
You think
me.
you would have mentioned it though?
Okay. But then Logan does talk about the scar with the spear in his stomach that he got from Grimm. Now he might. Now, of course, in a fight, you're gonna get hit, right? But he doesn't take. He doesn't make any specific mention of like a head wound or anything. He just says, "I was fighting Grimm, and then next thing I know, I beat his ass, but then I ended up with a spear in my gut. I don't know how that happened."
Well, if you got smacked in the head and then stabbed with a spear, you wouldn't really care much about the head knock.
I mean, if I was in that fight and I was Grimm, I would stab him and then just punch him in the head as many times as possible.
Oh yeah,
like that's just me. I don't know.
Something I would like to just loop around. I do think it's possible that if it was a pre-existing thing where he has blackouts and explosive rage, because I have heard that's a thing too.
It is
where a different kind of condition, and it could have been exacerbated by the head knocks, because if I'm not mistaken, the one where he got knocked in the head and all stitched back together, I believe that was right before he fought Three Trees, because he was back in fighting shape to fight Three Trees, and he did win that one. And Three Trees was present in Sharp Ends with that part. It just named and off scouting with Black Dow and Grimm and whatnot.
He was not with Black Dow. Black Dow was actually that's who they were dealing with.
Oh yeah, Black Dow was the one they're going after next. He was out with Tull and Grimm.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that point, it would have been after the massive head knock, and that could have been the one that really flipped the switch, so to speak, for that time. I'm saying head knock a lot.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna wrap up with mine and Harrison's kind of thoughts on this. So I reckon you're on to something here, and I reckon Joe's deliberately written this and he's deliberately not said anything about it, because people like to speculate, and it could be it could be magic and it could be mental, but it Occam's razor, right? The simplest explanation is often the truth.
There's something I'd like to mention about that. I'm honestly not convinced that Joe has a concrete idea of where it comes from. It could be something that he kept vague for himself, for everyone else to fill in the blanks of. And it might be one of those things where he didn't decide so he could see what the fans say and what they choose. I really don't know. But
Yeah, and
that's
that is really, really my point about this is that,
yeah,
Joe writes
yeah.
everything like this, doesn't he? You really can't, except when it's explicitly stated, you can't make any kind of assumptions about somebody's motivations or anything like that because real people don't know what they're fucking doing. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
go through life and you make decisions, but you don't know
No
why
doubt.
you made those decisions. You can't just think back on, oh, why did I do that? Oh, I did that because of this and this and that, like you would as if you were reading it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think that's why Joe's stuff flows so well and why it's so fucking readable.
It's very realistic. The people are very people-y.
Right. There's not a lot of like, oh, here's a setup and a backstory and a reason for why I'm about to do this. Like it just goes into it. It's very natural.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Harrison, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think that I definitely like the idea of it's a combination of different things. There, with Logan's issues, there is definitely a certain amount of split personality, I think, but not wholeheartedly. I think there's certainly there's trauma, his own personal trauma involved. There's definitely he himself. There's definitely head trauma involved in that. As for it directly relating to each instance, kind of like with the Red Country thing, it's true, it does pop up a lot, but I think it's more of an example of he's always in these fights, and then notoriously people are going to get hit in the head in a fight, and when it gets bad, he gets hit in the head.
I think Downside said it best when we got his POV in one of the Little People chapters. The best way to make sure an enemy goes down is to make the head a very different shape.
Right, exactly. And so in the instances, I do think it is just by circumstance that he's getting hit in the head. But
no doubt.
That being said, I do like I just enjoy I used to hate it. I used to hate the discussion around Logan's issues because it was like so annoying. Say, oh, it has to be, we have to have an answer, blah 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 blah. But the truth is kind of like with a lot of things nowadays, is like there isn't actually an answer. It's just the idea that there could be somebody like this, and that it is actually plausible to be somebody who's like that's got this berserker status, and that that it's a combination of issues, and no one's ever actually gonna know. Even if he went to go see a therapist and got psychoanalyzed, they probably still couldn't figure it out. Like, yeah, there's some consistencies. Yes, there's some answers here and there, some puzzle pieces, but it's not even Logan knows the whole picture. And we talk the same way about with like how Glock, how much does he actually care? How much does he not care? And there's different ways of how much of Gisele's actually changed. There's the fact that Joe, like you guys said, can write these human characters in a way. I think that's the big point of it. And I think Joe does have his own idea of what Logan is. I don't think Logan is devoid of all responsibility, and I don't think Logan is also needs to take all the responsibility for his condition. I think it's somewhere in the middle. But I do like I did never notice the fact that he did get hit in the head almost every single time. I do like that. That's pretty cool that you've been able to figure that out. Didn't even realize that.
Yeah, man. All those rereads.
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, so I know, like, I Trey, like you pointed it out, but like, I didn't notice it, because like you said, you reread a lot, you pick up on every little detail that you didn't catch the first time, right? But I guess what I just want to say real quick is, I don't know if I agreed with you on Baez is right. Fuck it, why not? But this one, I think I'm gonna have to disagree. I honestly think that the Bloody Nine and Logan are they're one and the same. And the reason is that the Bloody Nine is Logan's, his boogeyman that he can point to as to blame for his terrible actions. I think Logan is full of bloodlust. I feel like if we chalk it up to personality disorder or being devil blood or whatever, or even
it seems like a cop out, doesn't it?
There's no agency in his actions, and I feel like there's been enough where it's like, yeah, there's head trauma, but here's what I think. I think Logan really allows the Bloody Nine persona to take over when he feels that Logan's main thing, as we can see from his perspective, his POV that we've seen in the first 3 books, is that he's always concerned with not only trying to be a better man, but how people perceive him, right? And trying to be a better man. So this would be like, so when he's in situations where the Bloody Nine comes out, it's like, okay, at this point, there's no point in trying to like pretend to be a better man, be the bloodlusty cunt that I am, right? There was another thing I had in my head to say about it real quick. I'm blanking. Oh, I remembered real quick, and I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. And another thing is like either, all hope is lost and he has to let it out, or, his anger takes hold. But for example, the Bloody Nine did not come out right when he was fighting Black Dow at the end of Last Argument of Kings. You would think it would, but that the whole time, that's Black Dow saying nothing. He's just spitting the truth, isn't he? Right? You're a piece of shit. You're a villain that thinks he's a hero. And you think, and what Logan, he's probably just reckoning with that at the same time while trying to fight off these 3 people, then loses his sword. And he knows even if he goes Bloody Nine, he's not beating Black Dow with just fists. Not Black Dow. Some other goofball like Calder or Scale, maybe, sure, or Splitfoot, but he ain't beating Black Dow without a sword. Even if he goes Bloody Nine. So
I
therefore,
think
I feel like
ultimately rational, isn't he?
What'd you say?
I mean, the Bloody Knight isn't a fucking idiot. Like,
no, he's very dramatic. He's he's a very, like, if you ever seen Godzilla King of the Monsters, he's a very King Ghidorah, like, look at me, boys. But right? But he's not stupid, right? And
yeah, so in that fight, he didn't really get hurt that much. So, but to connect it to what you were saying, Bloody Nine and Logan being one, it could also be that whenever he gets knocked in the head, his inhibitions let loose enough for him to do what the Bloody Nine would do, punch drunk and whatnot. Just a different angle on it. That was really it.
No, that makes sense, because then what we're saying in that case is that he's still a bloodthirsty psychopath.
Oh yeah. There's no doubt in my mind.
Right. He's holding on just enough. He gets knocked in the head a little bit, and then he kind of gets a little punch drunk, like you said, and then he just goes wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was one time where he specifically said, "Where's the Bloody Nine when you need him?"
Right.
Where the Bloody Nine wouldn't come out when he really needed it. I forget where it was, but
I really, really, really like that though, because I really feel like that speaks to people's natures like that. Like,
oh yeah,
you can be in the flow in whatever task you're doing, whatever you need to do in life, and you can just go, oh yeah, I need to do this, and this, and just get it done. But when those things, blessed are the days when life is intense and clear, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. And he's done that more than once, actually, Trey. He did that, and before they're hanged, when he's fighting, what's his name? Phineas and Ferb, or whatever.
Yeah, Phineas. That's what it was.
And
Phineas and Ferb.
Sorry, and he did it again. Well, also with Black Dow. With Black Dow too, he did say, "Where's the Bloody Nine when you need him?" He did say that.
That's where it was. Yeah, that was the point I was thinking of.
Yeah, so more than once he has thought it, and it the Bloody Nine persona didn't come out. So maybe it is a combination of his bloodlust, his anger, desire to maim and murder people, and just a little knock on the noggin. And then the older he gets, Red Country, then it kind of...
He doesn't need the noggin.
He doesn't need the noggin no more. It's just there permeating his existence. All right.
He doesn't need the knock nor the noggin.
I can see this. All right.
And this is just, again, a testament to Joe's writing that we're still talking about this.
Exactly.
Like 15 years after these books came out.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Didn't the first one come out in like 1855?
No. Exactly, right.
Yeah, basically.
It's older than America.
Oh, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is now the time to announce the winner of the giveaway for Great Change, The Great Change, and Other Lies. George, take it away. You've been handling this.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey. We've had quite a few submissions. I actually did follow the rules for submission this time, so if you have either emailed us with a nice message or have shared the post with the hashtag COTW giveaway, you're automatically entered. And out of about 30 entries, we have the winner. And this is an Instagram account. I'm not going to read the whole tag, but the name's Nero. We've already sent them a message. Or we will have by the time this comes out. And hopefully they've messaged back and we've sent them the book. So congratulations for winning The Great Change in Other Lives signed copy.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to Nero, right? That's
Nero on Instagram. That's as much information as we're gonna actually say out loud on here.
Right. Yeah. And plus, I think that's the most information we have in terms of the name. So yeah, congratulations, Nero. Whoa, whoa. Congratulations.
Hopefully this person will also tag us and put a picture up when they get the book to prove to everybody that this wasn't one big fuss.
Right. Yes, Nero, please tag us. Put up a picture with it in your hands and show your face because we need to know you're real.
Hopefully, Harrison will put a nice note in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that to prove it,
a little
like a collusion.
Little handwritten joint. It's great. Well, congratulations again. And this whole giveaway process has been real fun for us. Just to see the interactions with everybody. It's been fantastic. We love that.
Yeah, it's been excellent, especially everybody that sent us an email. We got about 15 emails over the course of the month, and so many nice words and nice memories related to the First Law. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've gotten more emails due to this giveaway than we've had since we've started the podcast. And honestly, please, feel free to send us some more. I really love reading the emails. Just real nice. It's real nice. And it perks up my day when work's a little hard or my ferrets shit all over the place. You know what I mean? Just, yeah. And before we sign off, one thing that was brought to our attention before, after Trey had logged off, was that he actually has written a book, and we figure why not support the people that support us, right? So, loyal listeners, fans, friends, Romans, brothers, whatever. Anyway, but please support our boy Trey, aka XLIRV, whatever that name was. He wrote a book, and it basically, the title is this: Crossroads Awakening, and it's by T.Z. Witherite. I'll do it again: T.Z. Witherite, Witherite. This is the first book he's written, and actually, when you buy the paperback. It's only $3.50, like $4, really. Just support, the fandom. Don't buy anything else because actually there was a publishing issue, and the only way that he'll see any kind of money for his work is if you buy the paperback. And we at the Circle of the World podcast do not like corporations fucking over the little man. So buy the paperback, support our boy Trey, and just do that for him. Again, $3-4. Me and George, we just bought it. Mine actually came in yesterday. I don't know about yours, George, but I'm about to start reading that shortly. So please go ahead and support that. Again, Crossroads Awakening by T.Z. Witherite. Thank you, everybody. That's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you all know, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support means a lot to us.
Join us next week as we do another special guest episode.
And as always, go to our website and look for all of the latest updates.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any podcast app that you use. And please make sure to rate and review this podcast. Thank you all again for listening.
You were a hero around these parts.